are back. What is happening, y'all? Welcome to another edition of the Pop-Off. It is a beautiful, beautiful Friday, May the 16th, 2025, north of the border, but I'm sure it's even nicer down south where my man Gene FitzMagic is coming from. Gene, how are you, sir?
I am fantastic, my man. I'm chilling. It is gorgeous here today. Very rarely is it not. We're kind of getting to that season, part of the season where it might rain for like an hour a day, but we're not quite there yet. Yeah, man. Good old Florida. Good old Orlando, Florida.
Okay, are you done? Are you done now?
Yeah. But listen, the weather's getting good by you too. I mean, you can't complain.
Oh no, zero complaints. It's with a wicked thunderstorm last night. The kind of thunderstorm that scares you, but also like calms you down. You know what I mean? Like you're in a weird space with it. You're in a weird space with it because you're like, oh, it's treacherous outside, but it's also kind of calming.
It's the type when you're in the house, you're cuddled in. You got your lady with you. Maybe you got to put a nice movie on. Maybe order some takeout. Let those suckers walk around in the rain with your food.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, man, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about at home too. So thank you for staying with us. Hey, if you are on any of the socials, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, do all the things that we know we've been doing since the social medias has taken over our lives. And also pop over to YouTube. I say that because we love when you jump into the comments and have a part in this fun discussion that me and Gene are going to have. We are 2 men's down today. So shout out to Caleeb, shout out to Woody. They will be with us next week. It is all good. Things happen, things come up. But we're going to do the damn thing.
We may have Woody soon.
Oh, okay.
So he may come in soon. So hopefully he does. I also do want to make one announcement. I believe by next week, or the week after the latest, we will be back on audio platforms, all your audio platforms.
Ooh.
So stay tuned. If you want to just give us a listen in the car and you don't want to, if you can't watch us, we'll have that available to you very, very soon. But until then, man, enjoy everything on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch, on IG, and very soon, what's the other one? TikTok. And look for some really fun shorts and stuff coming very soon. But yeah, so let's move on, my man.
Yeah, let's do it. Boom. Got all that preamble out of the way. Yes, right. You got it. 2 men, all show. So far, so good. What's up, Certified Rob? Nice to see you, my man. And now let's jump into it. There are a bunch of things that have happened in the past week. This is what I love about our pod is that once a week we go down and we chop it up from the past 7 days. First and foremost, I know a lot of outlets have already talked about this, but we like to just rehash what's been hashed. The NBA draft lottery, we got to talk about it. We got to make it quick and dirty. In case you didn't know, the Dallas Mavericks, who were the catalyst for one of the biggest notorious trades in the history of the NBA by dealing their prime guy to the LA Lakers. And people thought it was a joke. People had no idea. It happened in the darkness, and people thought it was a joke.
Fast forward, of the night.
Yeah, the middle of the night. Fast forward, I too thought it was a joke. I was up when it happened and I lost my mind. Now, fast forward to many months later, 2 weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago, a week ago, the NBA draft lottery happens. The Dallas Mavericks have a 1.8 at the highest % chance to win the draft lottery to earn the number 1 spot. And shockingly, they do, which is bananas. How does this happen? Now they have a chance at, and I say chance, quote unquote, we all know what's actually going to go down, to pick Mr. Cooper Flagg, Duke's very own Cooper Flagg, the man, the myth, the legend that has been making ripples and shockwaves through the basketball community for the last couple of years. He may be a Dallas Maverick. Gene, let's talk about it real quick. What do you think? Is the NBA draft lottery rigged?
I mean, listen, if you ask ESPN, they'll tell you no because, well, they're in cahoots with the NBA, right? So they can't be honest. I get it. But I don't get no money from the NBA. So let me be completely honest. How is it not? I mean, you've seen, listen, everyone's seen the memes. Everyone's heard on the radio that, everywhere else. If you look at the history of how these number 1 picks have gone down, it's hard not to imagine. It's hard not to imagine that it is, man. Think about it. Luke is not even shocked. He's not even shocked. We wake up one night, or if you were up late in that night, you've heard at like 3 a.m. Luka traded for AD. AD is not the player he once was. Luka's only going to get better, and he gets traded to LA, who, let's face it, needs a star for when LeBron goes, right? And what perfect timing. And they just happen to get the number 1 pick. If you also hit the rewind button, you go back in time a little bit. Let's play a little Marty McFly for a minute, right? If you go back in time, LeBron's in LA, he needs himself a Robin, right, to compete. Because let's face it, LeBron's never going anywhere and one by himself, right? He needs a Robin. So what do? They trade AD in his prime to LA, and what does New Orleans get? And they get the number 1. They happen to get the number 1 pick too, and they go out and they get the guy at the time we all thought was generational. Maybe not, hasn't been, but we thought at the time was generational. Zion Williamson. You go back to when LA needed a star for the Clippers for young Blake Griffin. They needed a guy to get him the ball to do all that, do those alley oops, and what do? They trade him from New Orleans to LA, and New Orleans gets the number 1 pick that year as well. I mean, there's what's the one with Charlotte too? I'm blanking on. I mean, listen, the time Cleveland when LeBron ended up going to Miami, who was a better market for him than Cleveland, and what happens? Cleveland gets the 1 pick. Unfortunately, it was Mr. Anthony Bennett, who was not like the other great Anthony Bennett, Mr. Tony Bennett. It is what it is. Come on, Rob. Luka's already peaked. That trade still is ridiculous. I'll tell you what, he's peaked defensively. He's never, he is what he is defensively, but he's got a lot to go offensively. But anyway, having said all that, how can it not be rigged? How can it not be rigged? Like, there's so much coincidence. I'll even go back to the first one ever in '85 when the Knicks got Patrick Ewing. They wanted to put that big stud in a big market like New York. And there's the talk of the frozen envelope, because that's when you should just pick the envelopes out of the bag, right? Like grab bags at Christmas. I just, like I said the other night on Sports Rants, I had a fill in for Abby on Sports Rants, and I said if you believe this thing isn't rigged, you probably believe we actually put a man on the moon. I can't see, like, I just can't see it not being rigged, man. I just can't see it not being rigged. Now, I would love to know what you think, Nigel.
I'm gonna say the same thing. I'm not gonna disagree with you 100%. As much as I would like to lean back, I just can't. How is this? How, man? How is this happening? How is now this franchise, who everybody was like, hating on, they had to get, they had to reimburse people for their season tickets because people lost. Like, fan base was rabid. It felt like The Walking Dead out there. The stadium was empty. AD was gone. Like, it just, people were getting hurt. And it's just like, and the rumors on top of that, the rumors that ownership was going to take the franchise to Vegas, that doesn't help. That's like some more insult to injury. So now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, after you trade your best player, the player that sells, he was like number 3, at least, for jerseys being sold, 1 to 3. Now he's even higher. He's the guy. He's him. You get rid of him, and then all of a sudden, 1.8%, 1.1% chance of getting the number 1 draft pick, and you do that, you successfully get that, it's putting Dallas right back on the map. 100%. Yeah.
And again, if you're telling me, if I'm the Dallas management, right, Nico and the ownership over there, and you're telling me, listen, you're going to give this guy up because by next year he's going to get that super max contract. You got to pay AD, you got to pay Kyrie, you got to pay all these guys, or you can also get rid of Luka now, because we need him in LA as the big market. There's always been a huge star in LA forever, right? Forever, there's always been a huge star in LA, at least since Dr. Buster Gore. And then we'll give you the guy that is the next big generation talent that you can pay on a rookie scale wage, and you don't have to worry about paying that huge, crazy amount of money that you would have had to pay otherwise. It makes sense where they might be like, you know what? We can kind of start over a little bit. We still have a good team. We're going to get a star that we can add to the mix. It makes perfect sense, especially if you don't want to pay all that extra money as an ownership, right? Because you would have been above all those levels of the different cap spaces. Yeah, man. To me, it's like a no-brainer on both ends. He's more attractive in LA because it's LA, right? It's the Lakers.
Yeah.
It's like the Yankees of basketball. And if you, like I said, if you go back to Bus, they've always had like the biggest star in LA, whether it be Magic Johnson, whether it be Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, now LeBron James. They've always had the biggest star in LA through every generation of basketball. It's just the same now. They were like, let's get this guy, this international superstar. You could say what you want about where he's ranked in the top, whatever, top 5, top 10, whatever you want to put him. But at the end of the day, he is a superstar. It's almost like the same thing as when you try to compare. Okay, he's a great actor, or he's a superstar, and as far as making movies, like there's a difference between really good actors and really good movie stars, right? There's a difference, and he might not be a top 3 basketball player, but he's a top 3 superstar because of what he brings in globally, right? Yeah. And yeah, man, I really it sucks because like as a fan, like I'm tired of always seeing the Lakers get the guy, but here we are again. The Lakers got the guy.
Yeah, and I think that's just the name of the game. That's just the way the franchises go. That's just the way the NBA machine circulates. And just to give you an idea of some of the numbers, I'll break it down a little bit. I'm not a huge numbers guy. As we all know, math is not my strong suit. Design is. However, the Washington Wizards finished the season at 18-64. Charlotte Hornets finished at 19-63. Utah Jazz 17-65. These 3 franchises, these 3 teams had over 50% chance to get the number 1 draft spot. 3 teams with 50% or over chance to get the ball to name them the number 1 team to draft the number 1 overall pick. And they didn't. It was the Dallas Mavericks, who finished in 10th in the West with a record of 39-43 and made the play-in. And they still get the number 1 pick. That's the easiest way for me to break it down for you. So if you don't think it ain't rigged, welcome to the pop-off conspiracy edition, because it probably is.
Yes.
Now, that being said, the NBA is flourishing. There's still a lot of things happening.
Yes.
Now, quick question before we jump off the draft topic. Is there a way to fix this, Gene? Is there a way to – yeah, go ahead.
I'll tell you what, and this was from, I believe it was Rob, Certified Rob, who's in the chat right now, talking about the Yankees. And we'll maybe talk a little baseball a little bit with the Summer Series coming up. But he actually had a great take on Rookies of the Year that we were on earlier this week. And he said, instead of having, because I look at it this way, teams are going to tank anyway, right? Like the draft is there, the lottery is there so people don't tank, right? But what happens is teams tank anyway, so they get a higher chance of getting the number 1 pick. The Mets, the Knicks have done it. Teams do it anyway, right? So it doesn't stop tanking. What they should do is just take the bottom 4 teams, and that's it. The bottom 4 teams get to go in it, and because really 1 through 4 are going to be the most garbage anyway. Yeah. So I personally say.
Instead, currently there's 14. Just so everybody knows.
Like if you missed you missed the playoffs by like a half a game, and it doesn't matter. You're going to be into this thing, and you really don't at that point. You're moving. You don't really. There's other teams that are in more need of that first pick, right?
For sure.
So credit to Certified Rob. I thought it was a great idea, and I actually kind of go with it. Is you take that first pick, and or you take the bottom 4 teams, and you put them in a lottery, or let's have like a lot of teams you see that or a lot of fantasy football leagues. What do they always have? We have something that we know in leagues not we have something called the toilet bowl. And in the toilet bowl, it's the bottom couple of teams they play in a tournament to see, and the winner of that tournament then gets that number 1 pick. Maybe do something like that. That's the only thing I can see is you take those bottom 4 teams, you have them play one-offs against each other, and whoever wins that tournament gets the number 1 pick. So that way it's not all about tanking. You also got to win a couple of games too, right? So there's a couple of ways to do it, but again, I do like Certified Rob's vision of it as far as taking the bottom 4 teams and only putting them in the mix for a lottery pick. We don't need 14 teams in it. We really don't.
No, and it makes no sense because you're still getting teams that are still vying for playoff contention and they're or making the playoffs, and they're still getting a greater chance as teams that really need to turn their franchise around. Like the Washington Wizards right now, that is almost, if it wasn't for the Utah Jazz, which is just in a completely different market.
Yeah.
The Washington Wizards, that's the no man's land. That's Kyle Kuzma 100%. Is lucky he got out of there.
100%.
Because Middleton 100%. Is there now, and it's a wrap for him. He's done.
Yeah.
He might as well just retire. Because once you go to Washington 100%. At this moment, it's a wrap. Nobody goes to the games. The franchise is struggling. They have no real leadership. They struggle to do everything well, and that's not where you want to go. Once you get traded there, it's done. Charlotte is on the
Siberia of basketball.
1,000%.
And it's a shame because they really have. People forget they have a really deep rooted history as being like back when they were the Bullets. They were a perennial big time team. It's so sad to see now that they're like we said, they're like Siberia for the NBA. There was a point where they were one of the serious basketball teams in the country.
Yeah. So I like that fix. I like that a lot. I think the smaller the amount of teams you add in that lottery, the better, because those are the teams that really need the help. And then, if it is luck of the draw at the end, wherever people may fall, that comes to just your drafting prowess. How well are you drafting to make your team? How many trades are you doing? How are you moving up the draft ladder? That's on them. But I think those teams are having the roughest time, especially those markets that are so close to being something special, that they need that extra boost. Yeah. And speaking of extra boost, hey, who's going to get it from our boy Giannis Antetokounmpo? Who's going to get that boost this year? I mean, we know that he doesn't want to be in Milwaukee anymore. We know this. We know this.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with some other sports nerds the other day, and they're like, well, you know what? Giannis dedicated his soul to Milwaukee. And I was like, yeah, you will after you win a championship in the city. You're going to dedicate your soul. But then when things turn and it's been such a cluster, you might want to get out and get while the going's good while you still have some years left. Gene.
Yeah, here's the thing with Giannis, man. I feel like, the people in the city look at him and say, hey, you know what? You brought us a title, and now we want you to be able to go and do, and do what you want to do. Because, yeah, you did bring us the title. It's kind of like I'm wondering if it's the same kind of thing as like when you talk about with Kawhi Leonard. You're like, you know what? He brought us a title. At this point, if he wants to go somewhere else and be happy, I'm happy for him. Is it the same kind of thing as that? Because I don't know how people feel in Milwaukee about it. And where does he go? It really depends on how much pressure he puts on Milwaukee. Because like I think I've seen somewhere where they say the best package available that Milwaukee will get is I believe Houston and San Antonio have the best packages that they would be able to give. But if he doesn't want to go there, if he wants to go to a place like you're seeing, there are a lot of them are saying his top three options are Golden State, or that he wants is Golden State, New York, and LA. If he pushes if he pushes the issue, will they say, okay, you can go to those teams, right? Or I don't know. Is he going to be a gentleman about it and just say, hey, if you want to leave a situation where you don't feel you can win, then I think you gotta. If you're Giannis, I think if you're saying I don't want to be here because I don't think I'm going to win, you were basically saying only send me to a place where I can win. Do me that favor. It doesn't really matter what you get in return, because if they say, you know what, our best package for you is Washington, he's not going to want to leave. He's not going to want to go to Washington, right? If they say the best package for you is in Houston, Houston's got a nice future, but that still might not be where he wants to be. I think those other three teams are where if you were to add him to the mix are instant championship, not just contenders, but maybe even favorites, right? So like if you put him on the Knicks team right now, that team has no issue getting by Boston and getting by Indiana, and could possibly beat whoever's out in the West. You put him on Golden State. Could you imagine him on Golden State with Steph and Jimmy and Draymond? I mean, that's that's a dream. And even in LA, where LeBron's obviously running out of time, but they got him and they got Luka. Like that's another situation. My only thing with the LA situation is I don't see how that offense fits. I'm going to be honest. I don't see how that offense fits with those three guys. I'm going to be completely honest. I do think, and call me a homer if you want, I do think New York would be the best fit for him, with Golden State kind of maybe even matching that would be the best fit. I think the best fits for him would be Golden State, New York. Those two stops.
Golden State and New York. I mean, I think that there's just when you listen to it and you think about it, like when you say that, I'm like, yeah, man, I think that makes sense. But I don't know if it actually does. At the end of the day, I'm not sure if the money's there. I'm not sure if the players are the right players that would mesh and do the thing well. I think there's a lot of egos and a lot of plays that would be messed up when you add a Giannis in Antetokounmpo in that mix. So
that's what I'm saying with LA. I think LA it's not a great fit because I don't know how those guys mesh together offensively.
Right.
But I think he fits in perfectly with Golden State. And even with the Knicks.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. What I'm going to counter is with the Miami Heat. Because the Miami
outside of Miami, can't everybody.
What's that?
I feel like every time there's a major star, Miami, I don't know. I just hate Miami. I think it's really I hate Miami.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, everybody hates Miami. But I feel like that. And so that's where I'm not a big fan of Miami either. But I think that the Heat have the pieces that need filling that Antetokounmpo can bring, that Giannis can bring to the table, because they don't really have a lot of them Bam, but they don't have they don't have somebody other than their guards to do something.
Yeah, this guy's nuts. Wait, how are you going to afford him, Rob? How are you going to afford him? This guy's such a Boston. Listen, I'm gonna tell you something right now. He's a Celtic sexual.
Yeah.
Listen, we'll see Tatum in 18 months. How about that? We'll see Tatum in 18 months, bro, with his little ankle, messed up ankle.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh, do we think Deuce cried on the sideline?
Leave the kid alone. He for sure cried. Leave him alone. But I think the Heat, and I also think potentially the Rockets. But the Rockets, I think they needed this experience. They needed this little bit of butt kicking. They needed this little bit of like, oh well, we're not as good as we thought we were. In the long stretch.
Yeah.
And because they did great, obviously, as we saw, heated up at the right moment in the regular season. Finished off number 3 in the
Who are you talking
about? Houston.
Were they two?
In the West?
I'll tell you what, Rob will know. Rob, where did Houston finish?
Okay, it was OKC and then it was Houston. I think you're right.
I thought it was Houston. Okay, I thought Houston was 2.
Anyways, so I feel like there's space, there's room for Giannis there, and I think that'll be a great market for him. I think for him to be the face of the franchise, and then just everybody kind of surrounding him, the Van Vliets, and then those. I think that could be a good spot for him. I mean,
stay on task, Rob. Nobody cares about Boston.
So I think that's where I'm leaning towards, man. I mean, hey, maybe the Spurs. I don't know. Can they do it? They got room, right? Spurs got room. They got Wemby.
Spurs definitely got room, and he would fit that team. Are they ready to win yet, though? Like, all right, they didn't make the playoffs this year, right?
Right.
Where does Giannis put them? Like, what are you going to trade for? Like, you're going to lose some players now too. You might lose Castle. I forget the package. I remember they were talking about the package. I know it was a lot of picks, but either way, how many does he? I think obviously they just missed the playoffs, if I remember correctly. I think he makes them a playoff team, but are they a deep playoff team? Is my thing.
I mean, if you add Giannis, I mean, because right now their starters are Chris Paul, right? Castle, to your point, Vessel, who's out right now, Barnes, and Sochan.
That guy. Just call him that guy.
Yeah. So I mean,
that guy.
Yeah. So I mean, it could fit. It could work, man. It could work. There's space. Wemby obviously is in there, so I think.
Wouldn't it be such a weird? Wouldn't it be crazy if he just doesn't even get traded?
Yeah, listen, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he just stays in Milwaukee. Like this whole thing is just everybody just conjured up this conversation. All the outlets conjured up this conversation, and it's actually nothing. It's really he's just staying, and it's fine.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's not like a lot of other players where you're like, all right, like he's not the type of guy to be pushy. I don't feel like he's really going to be like, get me the F out of here. It's not going to be like where Dame was like, enough's enough.
Right.
Where a lot of these guys are like, enough's enough. I feel like I could see him not being so pushy and just being like, listen, it's time. I don't know, man. I wouldn't be surprised. I do think he's going to go, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
I do think it's Golden State or New York. I don't think it's going to be LA. I really don't. I know everyone's putting LA in that same mix as far as the teams that he really wants to be at. I don't think it's going to be LA. I don't think it's going to be San Antonio and Houston. I really do think it's going to be either New York or Golden State.
Yeah.
And either one of those teams are the championship favorites, I think, if that happens.
Fair. You know what? The NBA, like I said, is a bustling right now, and we're talking all of the sports. We're going to get to some MLB in a minute, but you know what you should, and some NFL, but you know what you should be doing. You should be liking, sharing, subscribing to the Pop Off, all of those things, to the Pop Off podcast. Make sure you follow us on the social too, man, because we out there on IG, we doing the thing, we hustling, and we will be back full force next week. We're missing Caleeb. We're missing Woody. They got business to handle in the best of ways. So good luck to them, gentlemen. And I hope they're having a fantastic day. I hope you're having a fantastic day, because tonight we're going to bop over to New York. Madison Square Gardens is hosting a big game.
Yes.
You lose, you go home. It's game 6.
If Boston does, we still have another chance. But let's face it, if we lose game 6 at home at New York, I should say the New York Knicks lose game 6 at home, and then they got to go to Boston on the road game 7. That's Boston's. You're not beating Boston into game 7 at home, even without Tatum. We might find out that Tatum wasn't that important. To be honest.
Yeah. Who knows, right? So we're talking about the Boston Celtics going to Madison Square Gardens to live another day, because, of course, the New York Knicks are up 3-2 in their series. This has been one of the fantastic potential upsets, especially in terms of like who has been leading. The Knicks have been just like calling the Celtics number. The Celtics have been dying and living by the 3, and they've been giving up monumental leads throughout the series to the Knicks, who has been not only scrappy, but they've executed very, very well. And there's a lot of life left in that squad. So it's going on tonight. I'm going to check in for sure, but who else needs to step up for Brunson is my question. Who else needs to step up on that squad, Gene?
It's got to be, listen, Cat's got to play the way he played in the regular season. He's not playing the same way, and he's posting up a lot more. I don't know if you noticed in the series. He's posted up a lot more than he ever has before, or at least in throughout the season. I need him to be able to maybe try to hit more threes. And I also do need to see OG. I think if OG, who had maybe one of his worst games of the postseason last game in Boston, game 5, he needs to step up. We need to see a better OG. We can't wait for OG to turn on the defense with the last few minutes of a game. We can't. We got to have OG lock down that perimeter from minute 1. And we got to see Cat do what Cat does best. Listen, he shot, I think, 40% from 3? It was a little over 40% from 3 during the regular season. Mm-hmm. He is shooting like a third of that in the postseason. So I need to see Cat be like Cat, how he was in the regular season. I'm tired of a lot of these bandwagon guys. A lot of these radio guys in New York are going, when Cat has a decent game, everyone's like, see, this is what Cat. And then they see him have a bad game, and it's like they jump off the Cat bandwagon all of a sudden. And, Cat has no basketball IQ. And Cat relax. Cat knows he's got to know what he's got to do. Unfortunately, he's not doing those things. And if we get Cat, regular season Cat, tonight, Karl-Anthony Towns, we get regular season Karl-Anthony Towns tonight, we win this going away.
This is a big game. It's a big game for New York as a whole, for the players, for the fans, for the city, for the NBA. I mean, to have New York in the mix, but not only in the mix, really fighting and really showing that they can be the next squad to hold up the Larry O.B. This is a big deal. And I think me and you and I have mentioned this before. There's no doubt in my mind that the other two fellas have too, but I know for a fact that I've said the NBA playoffs are better with the Knicks, Celtics, Lakers, all the classic teams of yesteryear in the playoffs today.
Little Chicago, absolutely, man. They are way better because it's just the rivalries really come out when it matters. Yeah. And this rivalry now, which was nothing, if you will, has really turned into something. Yeah, has really turned into something. Now, unfortunately, we now know
that your boy Jason Tatum is out.
It's my best friend.
Yeah, your best friend. This injury is probably going to last the better part of a year and change, especially because when it happened, because he's so deep after the regular season, this is definitely going to bleed into next season, and who knows how much longer after that. I hope he gets well. Thoughts and prayers, and we'll see how much he affected one way or the other how the Boston Celtics play.
Yeah,
that's just the bottom line. How they gonna recover from this?
I'll tell you what I did notice last game. The ball movement on Boston was infinitely better.
It's more
now, whether or not that makes them a better team, that's for debate, right? Because they played really well anyway, right? But there's way more ball movement without Tatum there, and it's to me, I love seeing ball movement. To me, it's a funner brand of basketball. I know I lived through ISO with Melo. I just like to see that, making as many passes as possible, move that ball around, get to the open guy, and the open guy makes a shot. I felt they did a lot of that last game. Now, are the Knicks now prepared to defend that this week? Tonight is the thing, right? And you also got to remember too: is Boston going to do some of the things they did? Is Cornette going to be? Is Cornette's not going to have another 7 blocks tonight, right? It's not possible. Cornette's not going to have 7 blocks. I think Cornette was 100%. Did he not miss a shot? I forget. Whatever it was, he's not going to shoot as well as he did in Game 5. So there's things where I feel more comfortable about. No, Rob, you're wrong. It was definitely better. I don't know what you watched, bro. I know every Tatum is the man to you. I get it. Like, you wish he was, your dad. But Tatum, the ball movement was way better without Tatum there. It had to do with them hitting the shots. That's just hitting their shots is just proving that the ball movement was good. Their ball movement was way better without Jason Tatum there. Now, again, doesn't mean that's a better team or better offense. That's for debate. Because they won both ways. Right. I personally, my style of basketball is I love to see the movement. Yeah,
I think you're right, 100%. I mean, listen, the Celtics are still no joke, but they've just been behind they've been playing catch up this whole series. So if the Knicks can keep that vicious mentality up, if they can keep that will to live, to fight another day, if they keep that strategy up, they're laughing. They're good. Brunson, Bridges, Hart, OG. Shout out to OG. I think he's the guy who needs to help step up. OG defensively.
Yep.
And if Cat keeps doing his thing, he's making really weird isn't the word I want to say, but he's making very unorthodox shots or slashes to the basket, which end up working out for him, which is very limber. And he's just
and he's not the same player he was in the regular season. He's playing more of a post up game, which
yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe your analysis of it is better than my description of weird, and I think that's what it is. It's just I've just never seen him really post up that hard because usually he's kind of slashing in or driving in. But regardless, hey, if they keep this up, I think it's a wrap for Boston Celtics as we know it, and they move on to the Western Conference Final, to the East Final. We'll see how that goes.
I do want to say one thing.
Go ahead.
We got, we're a new channel again. We're not a new show, but we're on a new channel. We got 77 people across in the building, across all platforms.
Yeah,
so guys, if you get a chance, come over to YouTube as well. Hit the like, subscribe button, all the things over here as well, because we're really trying to build up YouTube first and go to the other things. But we appreciate you tuning in and hanging out with us. I believe this is a high for any of the shows so far. I mean, I think we've only been on 2 weeks at this point. So 77 is our high live for any show. So we want to say thank you guys for tuning into the pop-off today. But if you can possibly, please come over to YouTube as well and support us on YouTube. Hit the like, subscribe, all those things. We would really appreciate it. I know it's easier for some of you guys where you're at. Maybe Twitch is a little bit easier for you. Maybe Twitter's a little bit easier for you. Instagram, whatever, so on and so forth. But we really appreciate to see you come over here if possible, guys.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you guys, every one of you, for sticking with us. We took a little bit of a break, and now we're back. This is week 2, and we're doing the thing, and nothing is going to stop us now.
Like the Mickey and Minnie song, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Stop us now. You haven't did that right yet, have you? You haven't been here since that's open, have you?
No.
When are you going to come down and visit, Nigel?
I'm going to come down. I'm gonna be there, man. I'm gonna let you know, guys.
Bring the little one down. Bring the wife down, and come stay with me, man.
I'll be there, man. You know what I mean? I'll let you know. I need some fun in the sun.
I got the Tampa Bay Buck tickets now. We go to a Buck game. We go to a Magic game. We'll have a good time. You get to meet Certified Rob, who's a pain in the ass, but he's all right.
Oh, yeah. Meet him in real life. I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, he's a bummer. He is definitely a bummer, but he's a good kid.
And listen, let's talk about the Pacers. We're going to keep it moving in the playoffs right now. The Pacers, wow, they are doing so good. So good. The Indiana Pacers. And a lot of people forget that they've been here before, not necessarily in such a winning fashion or in such a good standing, but they've been in the playoffs for multiple years, and they're fine. And they're doing really great right now. Obviously, all the teams that they have faced, they've been missing some players. But who stands a better chance of beating the said team in the Eastern Conference Finals? Is it going to be the Knicks or the Celtics? We don't even think the Celtics are going to make it. But who has a better chance? The Knicks or the Celtics of beating the Pacers? Or who do the Pacers have a better chance of beating? Either or.
All right, so I'm gonna sound like I'm rooting for my Knicks. I get it, right? I get it. But it's not really that. It's the fact that what have they done the last 2 years in the playoffs?
Right. Oh, I got delivery. Hold on. You keep saying.
It's probably a hat or a toy. I already know. They have beat up on beaten up teams, injured teams. Knicks last year were an injured team. This year, every stop they went up against a team that was injured. Even Cleveland had a lot of injury issues they were dealing with. Therefore, I do think if they get Boston in the next round, if Boston happens to win the next 2 games, they can get in. I do think they'll have an easier time with Boston just because it's kind of fit the medication of what they've had to win some of these series the past couple of years. They've been able to win these series against damaged teams, beaten up teams, hurt teams, injured teams, and the Celtics fall in that same category, man. The Celtics are a team that's banged up. They lost their best player, or already be their best player. I tend to be more of a Brown guy, but they lost their best player in Jason Tatum, as some people would say. That's gonna sting a little bit for Boston in the next round if they were lucky enough to get there. I do think that they can beat Boston. I don't think they beat the Knicks, and I do think there's a couple of reasons why. A, they're getting the Knicks healthy this time, finally. They didn't get the Knicks healthy last year, and there's also some payback I think the Knicks have for Indiana after losing last year to them. I feel like there's a lot of them wanting to get back at Indiana for taking advantage of them being banged up, and which you got to do, right? But even we've seen it in WWE. I would think it was like a Monday Night Raw or something where Halliburton showed up and Brunson showed up with the steel chair, and they were gonna go at it. I do think the Knicks will give them a tougher shot, just because again, a banged up team like the Celtics are basically exactly what the Indiana Pacers are looking for. It's what they've done all postseason long the last couple of years.
You know what's wild to me is that I look at the playoff bracket and I'm in shock. I'm in awe of the teams that we have in the conference finals so far. In the West, we have the number 6 Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yes.
And then the East, we have the Indiana Pacers. Now, if the NBA is not scared at who's going to make it through and play these teams, they should be, because some of the viewership might drop a little bit.
Which is why they mess with these. That's why they mess with these draft lotteries.
Full circle, y'all. That's what we call that. Full circle. So, yeah, man, I hear your points about about who would stand a better chance, and obviously, for sure, it's the Knicks. And I think the Knicks Pacers will be. I'll say will be. The Knicks Pacers will be an amazing series to watch.
It'll feel like old school too. It'll feel like 90s basketball again.
It'll be fast. It'll be furious. I think
it'll get chippy too. It'll be chippy.
That's the one. Both teams are going to really, really fight, and it's going to be. It might get ugly. It might get ugly. Both of those franchises historically have a lot of fighters, literally on their benches, and we'll see how that goes. Excited to see it.
Rob look at what Rob has to say here. I think
I
the
don't,
Celtics are better
Rob,
with
what are you, guy? Let us just do our thing, man.
Your best player, first of all, tell him to keep his hands to himself. He grabbed more balls than at a Diddy party last time against Jason Hart. Josh Hart. So tell him to keep his hands to himself, all right?
Once again, you're listening to the Pop Off. I'm going to go right into this little thing. You're listening to the Pop Off. We're watching the Pop Off, man. Me and Gene just holding it down today. My name is Nigel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and jump onto those socials and hit us with a follow on the IG. We're having a good time here. We're getting through all the topics.
We're having a great time here.
Yeah, we're getting through all the topics, doing the damn thing. And don't forget, if you're on YouTube, jump into the chat other than Certified Rob, because Certified Rob is blowing it up with all kinds of hot takes that are kind of lukewarm. The lukewarm takes is what they are.
Yeah, and they're a little bit fanish. Like, we get it. Like, we know you like the Celtics, buddy. Relax.
Oh man. Okay. So yes. So obviously we're in cahoots here. We think that it's going to be Knicks, Pacers. Pacers will have to fight for their lives, I think, against the Knicks. This could be a really fantastic product, Rob, that could come out of this finals. But wait, how many games though? Let's say the Knicks.
Okay.
Let's say the Knicks make it, and it's Knicks Pacers. How many games?
If it's Knicks Pacers?
If it's Knicks Pacers. Because we can't rule out the Celtics. We can't rule them out. But if it's Knicks Pacers.
I think either series goes 7 games, no matter who they play. I think you'll get in a 7-game series. Indiana's still scrappy. I just think when it push comes to shove, I just think the other teams will win. I think the Knicks are better than the Pacers. I think Celtics would have been better than the Pacers. But again, like I said, the Celtics are banged up, and that's kind of like the menu that Indiana Pacers love to feast off is injured teams. So I do think Indiana beats Celtics in 7, but I think the Knicks beats Indiana in 7.
Ooh, okay. So I think if we're going both ways here, which I just asked, so I think the Pacers beat Celtics in 6, if that happens. And then I think the Knicks beat Pacers 7.
Wait, give me yours again one more time.
I think the Pacers, if it's Celtics Pacers, I think the Pacers are going to beat the Celtics in 6.
Okay.
But if it's Pacers Knicks, I think the Knicks will win in 7. So I just one less game if it's the Celtics. I just feel like they'll be able to. The Celtics will just burn out, in my opinion.
I get it, and you and of course we don't have to say who Rob thinks is going to win because he's a homer. He's a little bit of a bandwagon guy because this is a guy that lives in Orlando, grew up in Pennsylvania, yet he's a Boston Celtics fan.
Don't know how the math checks out.
The math doesn't check. Oddly, how the math checks out. They were really good when he became a basketball fan.
That's true. I was going to say make it make sense, but you just did. Hey, you know what? Before we leave, before we jump off the NBA train, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before we jump off the NBA train, we got to talk about the number 1 Thunder versus number 4 Nuggets because they are going to a game 7 in 2 days. May 18th, 3:30 Eastern Time, game 7, do or die. This series has been phenomenal. So each series has had their own story, believe it or not. If they haven't been riddled with injuries, they've just been fantastic fights to the death. They've been miraculous comebacks. They've been last-minute shots. Like, they've all had something special. And if you are a true NBA fan, you have been enjoying this awesome playoff run. Let's talk about these two teams really quickly. The Thunder, Nuggets. This game is happening whether we like it or not. 7 o'clock May 18th, so Saturday at 3:30 in the afternoon. Great time for it. And man, it is being played in Oklahoma City. What are we thinking, Gene? Who's going to come out on top to jump over to the Western Conference Finals and match up with the Timberwolves?
I'll tell you what. It's one of those games where listen, let me say this first. What are the 2 most magical words in all of sports? Game 7, right? Like, those are the most magical words in all of sports is Game 7. So the fact that we're getting a Game 7 is gorgeous. I love it. This is a tough Game 7 to judge, man. I don't know. All right, so I think I can only go with who I want to see win.
Okay.
And I think I'm letting that cloud my judgment. And I just want to see Denver win. To be fair, they were my preseason champion pick.
Okay.
I had them versus Boston, with them beating Boston in the finals. I would love to see Denver. I think they can. I think, listen, if there's a team that can go out on the road and win, it's Denver. I got Denver winning Game 7. I got Denver going to the Western Conference Finals.
Wow.
And Rob's finally right. What does he say? OKC should win, but Nikola Jokic.
You're not wrong, Joker. You're not wrong. But you know what? I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to zag on him. I'm going to go with my Canadian boy. And I'm going to say the Thunder. I'm going to say the Thunder right here. SGA is going to lead them to the promised land, which is the Western Conference Final. That's promise enough. I think the Nuggets, I could go either way, to be honest with you, because shout out to my boy Murray, too. Like, I mean, we got Canadians all up in this mix.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm happy.
I remember if I remember correctly, you rooted for him a couple of years ago because of that.
1,000%. So I'm happy either way. But now I want the next man to have a turn. Yeah. I want another man to get a ring. Well. So I'm happy either way, but I'm just going to zag on. I'm going to call OKC. I think this one's going to be tight. I think this one's going to come down to the wire. I think it's going to be a fantastic afternoon of basketball if you get a chance to watch.
Oh, man. I unfortunately will be at work that day, man. So I'm going to have to watch replay that night. That's usually what I'll do is I'll get home at night.
How, man, with all the socials, don't you get hit up with alerts?
Well, you know what? Here's the thing is I'll watch it. All right. So if anyone that doesn't know, I won't say where I work, but I do work at a restaurant. And we have a bar where the games are always being played at the bar. So I will always make sure that I'm by the bar as much as I can that night. And between that and all the other servers, everyone's giving each other updates, but to get like what I need to know for our shows, I'll usually watch it late night, or I like to be able to go to the gym as early as possible, and that we have an early start of the day, and I'll usually watch replays of stuff either A, at the gym, or B, as soon as I get home from the gym. So I will watch it in full detail, but actually at the game, I won't be able to watch it like standing in front of it for like nice 3 hours, which is what I would love to do. But I will be watching it pretty much. I will have like all I will live and die by each call, so to speak. I just won't be able to stay as focused on it as I would have loved. And that's the part that stinks, because I think this is going to be a fantastic game. I'll tell you what, I don't usually make this bet. I would not be surprised. Go get your FanDuel out, your DraftKings out. I would bet this game is an overtime game. Put some money on the overtime for this game. I think this is going to be an overtime game. It's going to be a great game. Yeah, they're so well matched. It's a shame. I feel like this would have been a better Western Conference final, and if they would have met next round. Because I think whoever passes this is going to beat Minnesota in like 5 games. Yeah.
I could not agree more. I think the Timberwolves already signed their death certificate. I think it's a wrap for whoever comes out. Now, granted, that team is going to be tired, and it'll be, who knows if they'll be able to win a game 1, because they're gonna have to play like a couple days later to start the Western Conference Finals. Yeah. But I think they'll pull it out in the end.
Great.
Yeah. Here we go. We're jumping over to another sports league of the highest caliber. Now they're in the offseason, but the NFL has a lot of things happening. Pittsburgh Steelers still don't have a quarterback. I'm trying to make some calls and figure that out. Do I care about the Aaron Rodgers chat? Not anymore.
No, you're over it?
Yeah, man. Like, dude, we need to figure something out. And if they've already handshook, or if they've already signed a little something and they're just dragging this thing out, just let the people know so we can walk away from it. I'm for sure over it. Or so we can know what who we're cheering. We can know what kind of season we're looking forward to, or not looking forward to, for that matter. But we're fans. We're going to do it anyway, regardless, come hell or high water. That's why sport is so important. That's why it bonds people. That's why we're doing this thing for y'all today. Sports. Back to the NFL. I just went on a little tangent there. Now, there is 3 top most anticipated games of the season for Gene. And we're going to talk about those because the schedule just came out. There's a lot of things happening, a lot of fun happening, and a lot of games across the pond this season. They just keep adding more and more. My Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be playing over in Dublin. If I could get tickets to that. But Gene, let's talk about the 3 most anticipated NFL games that you want to see.
Can we go 1 and 1? Can we go back and forth?
We can do that if you want. Yeah, we can do that if you want.
Well, I got mine, So listen, I am a bit of a homer, but I do think there is something to this game, which is why I'm looking forward to seeing it. I get to actually have a little bit of a rivalry with some of my friends because where where you don't agree with Rob's basketball takes, you'll agree with his football takes because you guys are both Steeler fans.
True.
So week 1, what could have made this better is if Aaron Rodgers was on the team. Because I would love to beat him up a little bit. Mm-hmm. But that Jets-Steeler game, week 1, we got Justin Fields, your former guy from last year, who you won a few games with. I thought he should have been there again this year. You should have given him another shot this year. Yeah. But yeah, man, I'm all for that. That's one of my big games. I would say that's one of my 3, and it's season opener too, right? Who doesn't want to see the season opener, right? So that's also one of my big games is going to be that Jets Steelers game. I believe it's at MetLife. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. It's at MetLife.
Certified Rob says he plans on being there.
Sick.
Javi, who also is part of Rookies of the Year, just tuned in. He says it sounds like a snooze fest, but he's a Patriot fan, and that's all they've had for the last 2 years.
Oh, great! And they're playing Vegas week 1, so you know what? If there's going to be a snooze fest, might be your game, bro. Might be your game.
Yeah, I would say calm down. But having said that, the Jets Steelers are my number 1 game first.
We're on the same page. I would say the exact same. The storylines, especially if Rodgers is the QB1 for the Steelers by this point, that storyline is going to be fantastic. Rodgers comes back, donning the black and yellow, to his old stomping grounds in which he was supposed to be the new chief and commander. Things went sideways. Not only did he get injured, but when he came back, he was half the man, not even that he was going to be, that he should have been. And you guys didn't put up the numbers and missed out on the playoffs and just what the expectations were. So that's a 1:00 game. I think that would be an amazing game. But I do have a B. I do have a game B here, or maybe a 1A. I think I'm really looking forward to the Cincinnati-Cleveland game. That's also at 1:00. Not only are there interdivisional rivals, but who knows who's going to be quarterbacking that new look Cleveland team.
Oh, a little Shedeur Sanders.
All right. Are you kidding me? Guys, that might be – I mean, who knows? Who knows? Because something fun could be had when you have Joe Burrow going against Shedeur Sanders or maybe the rookie from Oregon, or who knows who their quarterback's going to be. Maybe it's Flacco back. We know what Flacco did with the Browns a couple seasons back, right? So who knows? I think that could be a good one. Anyway, so that one's taking place in Cleveland as well. So what are the games you got? What are the matchups?
All right, so my next game.
And that's just week 1.
Yeah. I mean, this one's not week 1. It's a Monday nighter. I'm not sure where the week is, but it's October 27th. Okay. Monday night. It could be a future, a preview of the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. We all love what they did last year. Commanders, the Commanders, who are really, really becoming a darling in the league with Jaden Daniels. They added some other pieces that are going to help them on offense. Commanders Chiefs, Monday, October 27th, looks like it could be a preview of the Super Bowl this year. I would love to see. That's a game Monday night, right? National audience. Commanders Chiefs. That's my second big game of the season. I can't wait to see that one. You only hope when these games are a little bit later in the season that the teams have done what they needed to do to make those games. It's almost like whenever we thought the Jets were going to be really good, the year they had Rodgers and he got hurt 4 plays into the season. And all those games that you thought were going to be big games later down the road, down the season, were like meaningless at that point. Like, the Black Friday game with against Miami, everyone thought that was going to be a great game, and it turned out it was like a nothing game because we had, I think, I don't know, like might have been like Kermit the Frog at quarterback. Who knows at that point? I forget who was our quarterback that game. I do want to say one thing. I do want to say this, and I'm going to post about it right now. This is a high for the channel in a show. 100 people in the building right now across all platforms. So thank you so much. Please come to YouTube, like, subscribe. I know we only got a couple of you guys on YouTube, so I guess everyone's watching on the other platforms. But yeah, man, try to come over here and join us over here. I gotta make sure we have the link set up. So maybe they don't know how to get over here. So I gotta make sure they can get over here with the links. But yeah, again, that's a high for a show, only 2 weeks old of a channel. So that's a number that we plan on blowing past. Once again, me and you broke a record again. We broke a viewership record again.
I didn't want to say anything.
You knew it though. I knew you would think. You were thinking the same exact thing. We both thought it.
Well, so thank you. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart and Gene's as well, to all those 100 that are listening or watching or however you're making it work. What's up, Jacob? We appreciate you guys so much. And hey, let's keep this train going. I am my number 2 pick is the Super Bowl. The reigning Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, go to New Jersey to play the New York Football Giants. There's something about that game. I can't wait to see Saquon go back now that he's a champion. Goes back to New York for the first time. Hey, what's up, guys?
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Does he get booed?
No. Okay. No, he's
I don't know. I don't think he does either, but but that's my question.
Listen, I think your question is valid. I think it's very valid because, for example, and there's a difference in these two stories that I'm going to tell you. Now, the one part of the story is that Saquon was beloved and people knew that he wasn't used to the best of his ability because he didn't have a line in New York. We all know this. And he never gave up on the squad. He was still within number 1 or 3 in fantasy drafts, right? Which is just a marker in terms of how great of a player you are. And you still don't have the other assets around you. And he's still crushing 1,000-yard seasons. He's still doing the thing. The other thing I was going to say, the other part of the story is that we did not, and I say we, I mean the Toronto Raptors massive did not boo Vince Carter. There was definitely like some trepidation in the cheers. There was definitely like maybe lukewarm. But when Carter came back, and there was a whole thing because it was a 30-year anniversary of the Raptors, and he was a big part of putting that franchise on the map, or at least making a mark for it. He's a touchstone for the franchise. Retired his jersey, only Raptors jersey that's been retired, and people had mixed feelings because he did cop out on the team towards his dying years with the franchise. He didn't play as hard as he could have because he sulked and he wanted to be gone. But at the end of the day, it's what they've done for the franchise and those memories that we have locked in that we do appreciate him for. So there's a whole stop to the game and whatever. So I feel like it's that with taking out the part of, was he, he didn't give up on the franchise. Saquon didn't give up. Mm-hmm. Vince did. But we still appreciate everything you did in the positive light. You know what I mean? So I think it's one of those situations where, yeah, man, he did his due justice. He didn't bring them. He didn't bring the Giants the Giants fans what they wanted, obviously. But for him to come back, the Giants fans can't give him nothing but love. Man, you did it. Congratulations, you did it. Would have been greater if it was with us, but you did it. Anyways. So I'm eager to see that game. So that's a Monday nighter too. Or sorry, that's a Thursday night game, which is great because that'll kick off.
Last year was it the Thursday night games that were the really good games?
Yes, 100%.
It was last year that they had to have every game was like just dynamite.
Yeah, almost every one of them. I think there was like 2 or 3, probably 3 or 4 sleepers, only because somebody was injured or whatever. There was things out of pocket that couldn't be helped. But anyways, your game 3.
Oh, no, I said it, didn't I? Oh, no, I didn't. No. All right, it's game 1 of the regular season. Ravens at Bills. I only wish this game was later on in the year. This would be a perfect cold weather game. This should be happening like November, like Thanksgiving weekend or first weekend of December kind of a game. That's what this is, man. Like how it's not you got 2 cold weather cities that just want hard-hitting top of the AFC. This is a game that should take place way later, man. This is definitely the game that should take place in December, man. And the fact that it's not, I think we kind of lose a little bit. That's the only knock on it is that I have. It should not be played in Buffalo in 80-degree weather. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This would be a game that I would love to see in November, December in Buffalo. But Ravens Bills could be a preview of the AFC Championship game. I think that's gonna be a fantastic game, especially when everybody should be healthy at that point in the season. Should be a fantastic game.
I like what you're saying. Maybe you like this too. November 2nd, we're getting the two teams that vied. Whoever won got the number one spot. The Vikings, Lions. I'm looking forward to seeing that one, see how that pans out again. And this game is going to be played at Ford Field, so we know they're going back to Detroit. This is the first time that the Vikings and the Lions go head-to-head again since the last game last year, which dictated who was going to be the number one seed. There's got to be bad blood there, right? There's got to be.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know what else you got to say other than just a yes, because that's not only is that just a rivalry baked within itself, but now you add how everything shook down last season, and how those teams both were just like vying for the number one, and just like I wouldn't say the Viking expectation, the Lions kept true to form what they had done last season, and that just dictated how the playoffs were going to shake down. So I'm looking forward to that game as well.
Let me ask you a question. I know, and we have all summer to talk about it, so it's a little premature. But I feel like that's such a tough division.
Yeah.
Do you have the Vikings taking a bit of a step back with J.J. McCarthy at quarterback?
Yeah, I think it's inevitable, right? I think I hope he gets some Bo Nix vibes, and what I mean by that is that Bo Nix did the right thing in terms of he took his time, or the Broncos allowed him to take his time to figure out the game. And once he figured out the game and how his team played and everything just gelled, midway through the season, we saw what happened. They were unstoppable. It was 100%. They were great to watch again. And I just hope that McCarthy has that same kind of vibe. Now he has some better pieces, arguably, than Knicks has. Knicks made some studs.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? But now we're talking about a Viking squad that already has studs on it.
Two really good backs. They have Aaron Jones back for another year. They had the guy. They signed the guy from Addison Jefferson. Who's the tight end?
Hawkinson.
Hawkinson, the running back they signed out of San Francisco. Had the big year last year with McCaffrey being down. I'm blanking on his name. Was it Jordan Mason?
Jordan
Mason. No, Jordan Mason. Well, Aaron Jones is there, but now you add Jordan Mason to the group. Yeah. It's gonna be a nice squad offensively there. I always think they're decent on defense as well. So yeah, we'll see. I do think he's gonna have to go through a learning curve, right?
For sure.
Just because he's a young quarterback. But hey, listen, Mahomes started season 2 and he became what he is. No reason why J.J. McCarthy can't be listen, I'm not saying he's gonna be Mahomes, but I'm just saying. You don't have to show anything weak season 1. Season 2 is a totally different game. Jake wants to know which his team has the hottest cheerleaders. That's his team, and he'll support them.
I mean, are we gonna go true? Are we gonna go like old school? Because I know my answer is out the gate, but that could be myth. That might not be. Yeah,
we're gonna say Dallas because that's always known as Dallas, right? They're like the famous cheerleaders.
Of course.
I'd have to do some research. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to spend some time doing some research on it and say. So Jacob, teaser, we'll let you know next week. Maybe we'll have some photos too. Maybe we'll get some photos and we'll do it. We'll vote. We'll do like you ever see Soy Sauce Sports where he does his pass and smash thing?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I was thinking that, and I was like, how can I lean into that guy's so funny and just
he's so funny.
More
bro.
Like it's
I love
more the comments and just the way he says it and the deadpan and like
because it's so monotone. He's so monotone, right?
And it's not like he's not. what am I trying to say? It's not misogynistic. The way he presents it, the way he does it, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It feels like it's just all in jest. It's all tongue in cheek, and it's not gross. It's not humiliating. In my opinion.
100%. He's never humiliating because he's never because every time he says respectfully,
yes,
a pass. He's never like, this one's a hound dog. No, thank you. He's never. And there's been some hound dogs, but he never does that. He's always like respect, and he'll give him some, and he'll give always like a positive thing to say respectfully because blah 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 blah. But I'm gonna have to smack. I'm gonna have to pass.
Always.
Dude. Yeah, he's pretty good. But yeah, you know what, Jacob? Tune in next week. We'll talk some cheerleaders off season. Yeah. It's off season football. Why not? Right?
Yeah, there you go. And now we're gonna talk about some free agents. There's still some free agents out there. So give me a couple names, my man.
All right, we're talking about the NFL free agents, correct?
NFL free agents, you got
that are still available.
Yeah.
How is Amari Cooper still available?
I don't know.
How is he still available? I mean, does somebody know something that we don't know? Was he allegedly at a Diddy party? Was he allegedly the guy that peed on Cassie? I have no idea.
Don't know.
But there's no reason why this guy should not be signed already.
I don't. Yeah, I wish I had more for you, man. I'm also like, how? What? How are you? Teams need receivers. Teams need
100%.
catchers. And this guy's tried and true.
Even your team could use another receiver after trading Pickens. And I don't know for Amari to be a bad guy in the locker room. I've never heard anything about that.
No.
109 in the building, guys. 109 of you in the building. Please come over to YouTube and say what's up and like and subscribe. Man. Amari Cooper's my guy for number one. Do you want to give one or do you want me to go next again?
No, you go next. You hit it. You hit
it. Zadarius Smith.
Right.
How is Zadarius Smith not on a team right now? You line him up against whoever else you have, and it creates such a mismatch. I don't understand why. Okay, Jacob.
I shouldn't be laughing at that. I shouldn't encourage Jacob to tell us about his philandering.
His philandering. That is the most polite way someone could put being a hoe.
I am Canadian.
That's true. Fair enough. I don't understand how Amari Cooper's not on a team, and you put him against whoever else you have on your team. You just create a mismatch because you got two solid receivers at that point. Because he's definitely at least a good number two. And then Zadarius Smith, how is he not lined up across anybody else? Like, go back to Detroit. I don't even mind Detroit doesn't bring him back. He's just, listen, I got a couple of guys in New York. Bring him to New York. Add him to my rotation. Add him to the line rotation. He should be on a football team right now. There is no reason, like Pittsburgh. There's no line that's not too good to just add him in. At this point, any free agent you're bringing in, you're going to get relatively cheap, right? You're not going to spend big money on it. You're going to bring them in relatively cheap compared to what they probably would have been worth earlier in the offseason. Even Pittsburgh, you have a great defensive line. I love your defensive line. Watt, Highsmith, all the guys you got. I like the new rookie you guys just picked up in the draft.
Yep.
Put him there. He could go in so many different places. He doesn't need to go to a bad team that needs rushing help. I would say, even if I don't need rushing help, I bring him in to shore up my defensive line, to add him to my rotation. So I always got somebody fresh and with a huge potential to go out and make something happen defensively. So he's another guy that I can't understand why he's not already somewhere.
Yeah. Do you have another one or no?
I did. I gotta go back to my notes now. Give me one. You go real quick.
Yeah, let me hit you up with this one. Is Von Miller still out there?
He is still out there. He's not on my. He wasn't the guy I'm thinking of, but
yeah, it's all good. I'm adding him to my list because listen, we all know he's not the edge he used to be. We know that, but we also know he's an edge who can still play the game. He can still be a tutor. He can still lead. He's still a name that it invokes fear, and you're always going to have to put a red flag there, being like, hey, just remember Von's out there. Remember Von's out there. You're always going to have to do with that guy. So I have no idea why he's still just kind of hanging out, just straight up
100%,
chilling.
100% makes no sense. Yeah. Again, and like you said, like like you said, he doesn't need to be the star of the defense, right? He just needs to be a guy that can go in there, mentor some of the young guys, relieve some of the young guys, give them a blow, and still be a presence there on defense. So listen, no matter, he's like those guys that aren't, that all they have left, like he's a receiver that all he has left is his speed, really. Like he's not a great route runner. He's, he hasn't done nothing really for that long, but you always have to account for him because he's going to blow the top off. If you don't account for him, he's going to run 50 yards past your safety and be available, for on a fly pattern. So he's one of those guys like that. Like you still got to account for Von Miller. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So who else you got?
I'm checking just to make sure this is accurate. But I feel like Nick Chubb
is available.
I thought this was a typo. I was doing some quick research, and I can't. I understand why. Now he is just straight up a liability. His body has failed him. I shouldn't say his body has failed him. He has been in some unfortunate car wrecks on the field, and they've taken him out, and so now it's. His body is going to play different. He's going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still, again, to me, still a Von Miller type in terms of he's still a threat, man. We know what he can do when he sees that gap, or even when there's no gap, he'll make one. He's still that guy who can run through some brick walls. So it's just like, who doesn't want to give him a chance, put him in their second back or short yardage or some kind of specialty package? I don't get that either. Very confused.
All right, so I'll go with my last one.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen.
I was going to say him.
Keenan Allen, bro.
Yeah.
How is he still available? Again, is he what he was 3 or 4 years ago? No, we know that. But he's still a guy that you put into that huddle, and you have to account for him on defense. He's going to be able to give some of your young receivers a little bit of knowledge about the game, what you need to do. Like, listen, the Jets need another receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why we're not at all looking at Cooper or Allen.
Yeah,
we need another receiver. I mean, I think I don't get it. I mean, and that goes for a bunch of different teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't get why these two guys aren't signed right now. And same thing with Darius Smith, Nick Chubb, another one. Like, I can see it a little bit with Nick Chubb because of the injury history.
Yeah.
Same thing with J.K. Dobbins, who I believe is still available as well. There's an injury history. I get it, especially with backs. But they're still good enough to be on a team somewhere. And why they're not, I don't know. Because like I said, you're going to get these players at this point at bargain prices.
Yeah.
No reason why they're not on the team right now. No reason.
Yeah. I think it's baffling. I want to give a shout out to who somebody I was going to name, but obviously he has signed a 1 year with the Tennessee Titans. That is Tyler Lockett.
Yes.
He was out there for a very long time, but he actually just recently signed in April, 1 year, $4 million contract. And the reason why I bring that up is because that's exactly the type of thing that you're talking about, Gene, where it's like these guys, they still got a little bit of juice left. They still got a little bit of potential, and he still has name recognition on that field, on that turf. Sign him to a small deal. Just get him in there, get him in the mix. So he's just another threat that at least you have to keep an eye on. One eye on him, one eye on everybody else,
100%.
Hey, man, this has been a bunch of fun. We got a couple more topics, and we're going to get out of here so everybody can enjoy their Friday. You've been listening to the Pop-Off right here on the Pop-Off Network. This has been so much fun. Thank you very much for the 109 and counting. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all those social things that we know you know how to do. And let's jump right into some MLB. But before we do that, you thought I missed it, but I didn't.
Here we go.
Cap Corner, baby. And once again, I'm wearing one of my faves. Hopefully, I'm going to add to this collection very, very soon. Winking a nudge. I may wear it next week in celebration of the Edmonton Oilers moving on to the next round, beating the Vegas Knights 4-1, I believe.
They're the first team to advance as well, I believe, right?
Yeah. And one of 3 Canadian teams that are still in the mix. I wanted to make sure to wear something a little special. This right here is the Edmonton Oilers alt logo right here. And for those who know, no sign patch. We got a little bit of an NHL shield on the back there, and this is some silver threading. So this bad boy is hot. You got the tone-on-tone New Era flag. The inside, once again, this is metallic threading. This was designed by Alberta's very own Todd McFarlane of Spawn creation fame. So if you're into comic books and he's the one who designed this back in the 90s. This is one of my favorite alt logos. It's just super fun. It's just so different. So that's why I thought I'd respect the game, respect the teams, the Canadian teams that are out there. So
fantastic.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to jump into the two. What's that?
My team is,
Who's your
Rangers, man? But they signed what's the guy's coach? The coach they just got from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Here, let's talk about baseball real quick. Let's talk about those things.
Yes,
and those things are now that there's been a lot of posthumous.
I think it's no. I don't think it's post. I don't think it's posthumous.
Posthumous.
It's posthumous. It's like
posthumous.
It's posthumous. If I'm saying that wrong, please correct me, guys.
Yeah, let us say it wrong the whole time. The MLB has just released a bunch of names that are now eligible for the Hall of Fame. One of them being Pete Rose, the other being Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Yes.
This is a big deal for the MLB, but also these cats are long gone.
Yes, which was probably the plan. Yes.
So would you vote for either, or is there another one that you think is just as that qualifies as much, Gene, or what do you think?
So here's my take on it. This is definitely a hot button issue, right? Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's the thing. If the rule was you gamble on baseball, you're gone. You can't then say after they passed away, because if I was part of the family of either of these two individuals, I'd say, you know what? You're not making money off of putting my dad in there now. You wouldn't let him enjoy it when he was alive. I don't even do it. You know what? Like, you're not going to make money off his name by now, doing all these things and honoring him. Get out of here, because it's bullshit at that point. But if the rule is you can't gamble on baseball, you're out. You can't just all of a sudden lift the ban and say, all right, now we'll let them in because they passed. Like, I don't agree with that. Now, at the same time, I personally wouldn't put that ban on them. They still put up the numbers they needed to put to be worthy of the Hall of Fame. I vote for them because their numbers are worthy of it. Pete Rose has more hits than anybody that's ever played the game. Shoeless Joe Jackson did things back then that people didn't do back then. If anyone's ever seen the movie 8 Men Out, I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, Nigel. I suggest you see it. It's fantastic. It's a lot of a lot of the guys that are now older actors that were like young and up and coming. It was like it was before Charlie Sheen lost his mind. A young John Cusack. Forgive me for forgetting the man's name, but the guy who played Frasier's dad on the show Frasier.
Oh yeah.
Mahoney. I can't think of his first name or his last. I think John Mahoney. He plays the manager in that movie. A ton of really good actors in that movie. And really fun watch. But it's about the Black Sox scandal. And so my thing is this: Shoeless Joe Jackson put up Hall of Fame numbers. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But it's so goofy for the league to then now change the rule up because it might suit them financially or whatever it would be. I don't know. Is it spiteful that you waited for them to pass? So if I had a vote, I would vote them in. Having said all that, I vote them in. Not because now I'm allowed to. They should have been allowed to from day one. If you were ever going to allow them ever, they should have been allowed from day one. If the rule was such that they couldn't be in, then don't lift the ban. It should never have been lifted. But if they're going to be on that ballot for me to vote for them, I will vote for them because of what they did on the field. The Hall of Fame should only be. I say the same thing for a lot of these guys that during the steroids era. You put them in the Hall of Fame, but on the plaque goes. You don't just list all the glowing things, all the great things that happened when they were in the sport. You got to put in some of the negatives too. Like they played during the steroid era and that they were accused of it. Like you got to be able to put that stuff on the plaque too. You need to be fair and you need to be an open book about it. And the same thing with Pete Rose, same thing with Shoeless Joe. You need to put in that history of the gambling and whatnot. I do believe Shoeless Joe is never really found guilty of the gambling. I think none of those guys were actually found guilty of the gambling, if I remember correctly. It was just Mountain Landis is the guy who basically was the commissioner at the time that they're out. But I'm seeing a whole lot of stuff right now just because you know what I mean? Because it's such an awkward thing. I'm so conflicted on it. Bottom line is this: that I put them in because their numbers dictated that they should have been, but I do put on the plaque and in the writing that what they were accused of, what they were part of, and because it needs to be remembered. It's a museum of the history of baseball. Therefore, you can't just always remember the good things. We got to remember the history of baseball. That's going to include some of the tarnishes and the bad times, and I think those need to be listed on there as well. But I do vote them in.
I don't know where I stand on this, only because I agree with you. But what I agree with the most is having some kind of caveat. I'm over the whole asterisk idea. I think it is, a 2-paragraph thing. First paragraph is what they've accomplished to the, on the plaque I'm talking, what they've accomplished in the game or their stats or whatever the thing is. But for sure, second, third paragraph should be like, however, or like in addition, or something that leads into, Pete Rose was accused of, or Joe Jackson, Shoeless Joe had a very larger than life gambling addiction. Whatever the story is, I definitely think it should be there. I think you're right. I never thought about that. And I think that if you're going to induct them, if they do get those votes, there needs to be that kind of information, because historically, yes, they did things that not only changed the game, but it changed the way people played the game. It changed the way that, people looked at athletes, looked at stars, and looked at, MLB just in general, just baseball as a sport, which should for sure be recognized. Unfortunately, there were some bad habits that trickled in, and those bad habits became part of the game. We're still doing it to this day. Now it's only a matter of if you get caught, or if you're doing it, you got to do it through X, Y, and Z. So, I mean, it's still happening. It's just a little bit more glamorized, just a little bit more in our faces, right? So I do think that if that is the case, there should be some kind of information that just let it be known that this is also happened.
100%.
Listen, let it be known that this day also happened. This Friday, May 16th, that the pop-off went off. It was a 2-man show the whole way. We cannot thank you guys enough, you folks, fellas, ladies, everybody under the sun. Thank you so much for being here with us on this 90-minute journey, which has been super fun to chat and to joke and to get some comments in the comment box. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We're going to be here next Friday, noon 15. Is that what we're doing? We're doing 12:15?
12:15 every Friday.
There you go, 12:15. We're going to lock it in.
Some of the other shows that'll be on Monday at 10 a.m. will be the Prop Stars with TJ and Buff, and then at 12 noon on Monday. Did I say Friday or Monday? I said Monday, right?
Yeah, Monday, yep.
And then Monday at 12 noon, we will have Rookies of the Year with that clown certified Rob. And Javi will be there, and Josh will be there. But yeah, you can listen to Rob with all his craziness. And then on Wednesday nights, we have sports rants with Abby and friends. So if you guys remember, if you guys know Abby, the Jets rant girl, that she's leading her own show, great cast. So make sure you tune into them as well. And then we're back on Friday, hopefully at full strength. But I'll tell you what, 112 in the building across all platforms. Again, we're only in the infancy stage of the channel. We're only in 2 weeks in. It's pretty good for only 2 weeks in, man. 112 in the building. Our previous record on the old channel was 720. We're at 112 now because we're starting over in a new place. But yeah, man.
I like it. I dig it. Everybody knows the way that we end this is with some weekend words. Gene, any weekend words for you?
Yeah. Tatum. I'm sorry it had to go down the way it went down. I would love to have beaten you guys full strength, but I guess we did already 3 of those times because it happened late in the game. But if there's one thing that's positive that comes out of you not playing, It's not you being off the court and making the Celtics better because we beat you guys anyway with you. It's I don't have to see you carry Deuce into the arena every freaking game. And I don't have to see you talking to Cassidy Hubbard with holding him in your hands every freaking game. I don't know why the kid gets more camera time than half the players in the league. Listen, I'm done. I don't need to see Deuce Tatum anymore, man.
I knew this long walk was going to go somewhere, and I was like, you know what? If I was a betting man, it would definitely go to some kind of comment leading towards Deuce. On my end, hey, you know what the deal is. It's Friday. I'm with y'all, and I'm going to buy a hat today. But I already bought it, and I hope that I get to wear it proudly next Friday.
Wait, can I say one thing next Friday?
Yeah, you can.
Guys, make sure you tune in because we could be witnessing a memorial service for the Boston Celtics. I don't want to tease it too much, but make sure you guys tune in next week because we will actually hopefully be having a memorial service for the Boston Celtics. I didn't want to give too much of it away.
Wow.
We'll have some guests come in. Can I say something? I already got my eulogy written.
All right. We did the thing. That was the pop-off. That's Gene. I'm Nigel. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. If you're in Canada, happy long weekend, y'all. We're just chilling, barbecue, peace, and we out.
Peace.